The stage at the company's annual gala was bathed in dazzling lights. Standing in a quiet corner, I watched my nominal wife, Sophia, the company's CEO, gracefully introduce the man beside her. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce our newly appointed vice president, Daniel. Sophia's voice resonated through the spacious ballroom. Instantly, all eyes turned to me. Their gazes held a complex mix of emotions: sympathy, schadenfreude, and most prominently, an eager anticipation for the drama to unfold. Mr. Johnson, a senior manager, curled his lips into a mocking smile. Miss Sophia, Ethan has been with the company for a long time, practically a founding member. How come he wasn't considered for this promotion? Sophia's eyebrows subtly arched, a fleeting flicker of unease in her eyes, though she quickly regained her composure. Ethan is a vital technical backbone of our company. He can better leverage his strengths in a hands-on, foundational role. A bitter smile touched my lips. Sophia was clearly convinced I would never resist, never leave her. My gaze fell upon Daniel, and a pang of pain shot through my heart. This man bore an uncanny resemblance to Sophia's college sweetheart, who had tragically died in a car accident years ago. Suddenly, an overwhelming weariness washed over me. I ripped off my employee ID badge, tossing it onto the table in front of Sophia. My voice was low, yet firm. "Miss Sophia, I'm done." Sophia's face instantly darkened. She hadn't anticipated me humiliating her in front of so many people. "Ethan, what is the meaning of this?" Her voice was laced with anger and thinly veiled suppression. I could feel her impending explosion of rage, but I no longer cared. The ballroom fell into an eerie silence, everyone holding their breath, waiting for the drama to escalate. Sophia took a deep breath, trying to make her voice sound more composed. "Daniel is only here for a temporary assignment. He's an old acquaintance of mine, and I felt obligated to help him out. Besides, in a little while, you'll also have the opportunity to compete for the vice president position. We're all adults here. There's no need to throw a childish tantrum." My heart had turned to ashes, and I clearly discerned the underlying thread in Sophia's tone. I stated firmly, "No, Miss Sophia. Once I've made a decision, I won't change it." Sophia's face was terrifyingly dark, completely devoid of her usual composure. Her eyes revealed an unbridled disgust for me. Seeing the escalating tension, Daniel quickly interjected, his tone conciliatory. "Miss Sophia, Ethan truly is a vital talent for the company. My sudden appointment might cause some resentment among the staff. I'm willing to start from the ground up and leave this opportunity to someone more suitable." Having just been publicly defied by me, Sophia was now determined to put me in my place. She looked at Daniel, her gaze resolute. "Daniel, there's no need to be modest. This position is yours. The fact that I've placed you here means you have potential, unlike some who are overly ambitious and only care about power." The surrounding crowd watched me intently, anticipating my reaction to her words, eager for more entertainment. I let out a cold laugh. Since it's a decision I've made, I won't regret it. Sophia turned her head, fixing me with a cold stare. "Ethan, think this through carefully. It will be very difficult for you to ever step foot back in a Sue's group once you leave. And let me tell you, if you can do the job, do it. If not, then just get out." I forced a wry smile. I knew it. Her patience and kindness towards me had always been zero, even less than what she'd show the company's security guards. Without waiting for my reply, Sophia, like a victorious peacock, led Daniel to the center of the ballroom, her voice filled with pride. "Now, let's all welcome our new vice president, Daniel." Seeing this, the surrounding colleagues swarmed forward, raising their glasses in congratulations, their flattery expertly delivered. In that moment, I felt like a forgotten clown. Standing there was nothing but self-humiliation. Feeling the gleeful expressions of my colleagues surrounding me, I hesitated no longer. I pulled off my wedding ring, turned, and walked away, without a single backward glance. From behind me, Sophia's angry voice rang out. "Ethan, if you walk out of this company, don't ever come back." I ignored her, walking directly out of the ballroom. No sooner had I stepped out of the venue than several colleagues, feigning concern, gathered around me. "Manager Ethan, Miss Sophia has been good enough to you. What you did today was a public embarrassment for her." "Exactly. Besides, Manager Ethan, you're already middle-aged. You can't just quit like a young person. You have a family to support." "Oh, wait. Miss Sophia certainly doesn't need you to support her. After all, we all know it's Miss Sophia who pays our salaries here at the company." I stared at their hypocritical faces. Their words subtly implied that I was nothing more than a freeloader, now having offended Sophia, my benefactor, and that my very survival was now in question. Just then, congratulatory murmurs drifted from the ballroom behind me, celebrating Sophia's apparent riddance of a parasite. Some even encouraged Sophia to divorce me soon and pursue her own happiness. I turned and glanced back at this toxic company and the utterly hypocritical faces of my colleagues. A wave of profound weariness washed over me, followed by a deep sigh. I was Sophia's husband in name only. For years, this identity had been like an invisible net, tightly binding me in this relationship, suffocating me. My connection with Sophia began in college. I was her junior, and we both majored in finance. My father had been her family's gardener for many years, practically a part of their family. Years ago, my father had saved hers in an accident. That act of gratitude had compelled Sophia's father, on his deathbed, to bind Sophia and me together completely. He wished for us to marry. At that time, Sophia was deep in the throes of grief, having lost the man she had secretly admired for years, her moonlight, who had also tragically left her in an accident. During those most difficult days, when she suffered a double blow, I stayed by her side, slowly helping her emerge from the darkness. Perhaps out of gratitude, or perhaps due to her uncertainty about the future, she vaguely agreed to the marriage. However, this marriage was never legally registered, nor was it ever consummated. Whenever I tried to bring up these issues, Sophia would invariably refuse, citing the company's crucial growth period as an excuse. I had once believed that by agreeing to this marriage, she at least harbored some flicker of affection for me. I hoped that my companionship and sacrifices during those days might have quietly touched her heart. But, in reality, I was simply dreaming. At that time, Sue's group was struggling for survival, on the verge of bankruptcy. If it collapsed, Sophia would face enormous debts. I compromised, turning down many lucrative offers from larger companies. After graduating from college, I went straight into Sophia's company as a technical manager. Primarily, it was to help her stabilize the company. Secondly, I feared instability after her father's passing and wanted to help her maintain control. After all, at that time, everyone wanted to get a piece of Sue's group. The subsequent exposure of our relationship wasn't my intention, but it irrevocably made me an eyesore to my colleagues. However, I didn't care about that. All I cared about was Sophia. I simply wished for her to live well. My diligence at work and my meticulous care at home were all efforts to slowly influence her, hoping she would finally grant me a second glance. I believed that with enough effort, I could one day win Sophia's heart. Yet, no matter how much I gave, Sophia remained consistently cold towards me. She would criticize me mercilessly at work, and at home, she would barely acknowledge me. My heart, through repeated hurts, gradually grew numb. It wasn't until Daniel's appearance that I fully grasped the truth. I could never replace her first love in Sophia's heart. Whatever I did, she probably saw it as having ulterior motives. I packed my belongings and headed straight downstairs, leaving the company building. The moment I stepped out of the office building, I pulled out my phone. Without hesitation, and submitted my resignation. The HR manager promptly approved my request. After all, I was now like a stray dog, not worth their fawning. I could almost foresee Sophia's sneer when she learned of my resignation. But at this moment, none of that mattered anymore. I returned to the apartment my colleagues rumored we cohabited. In truth, it was merely an apartment Sophia and I shared, a financial arrangement. This unassuming apartment, though small, had once held all my hopes for a future with her. I took one last look at the familiar ornaments, then silently gathered my few belongings. My heart was a mix of emotions as I surveyed the room, once filled with shared, though superficial, history. After a final glance at the place steeped in memories, I turned and walked away. A person, after all, must live with dignity. Walking the streets, I felt a confusion I had never known before. I didn't know where I was going, nor how to navigate the path ahead. I recalled all the years I had dedicated to Sophia, and a sharp pain pierced my heart. On my way to my new place, a sudden urge for a drink hit me, so I stopped to buy a few bottles of liquor. I drank myself into a stupor, agonizing over the years wasted on an unworthy cause, and simultaneously raising a toast to my newfound freedom. Before slipping into unconsciousness, I heard a voice. "Why is this person sleeping here in the middle of the night? Sir, are you awake? Are you okay?" A gentle voice resonated beside my ear. I looked up and saw a young, pretty girl. Her eyes were full of concern and curiosity. "My name is Lily," the girl introduced herself. "And you?" "Ethan," I replied, my voice subdued. Through our conversation, I learned that Lily had just graduated and was also looking for a job. She radiated youthful energy and aspirations for the future, which made me recall my own past self. "Ethan, why are you drinking alone out here?" Lily asked. I gave a bitter laugh, thinking that perhaps unburdening myself to a stranger wouldn't be so painful. So, I briefly recounted my story to Lily. Lily listened, a flicker of sympathy in her eyes. "Ethan, don't be too sad. Maybe this is a new beginning," Lily comforted me. I looked at her, and a warmth spread through my heart. I suddenly felt that perhaps, in this world, there was still someone who cared about me, who valued me. "Ethan, how about we go bungee jumping together? We've clicked so well, and neither of us has a job right now. So let's celebrate our newfound freedom." I looked at her face, trying to recall the last time I went bungee jumping. Perhaps it was during college, or maybe a graduation trip, but definitely not when I was with Sophia. In any case, I was now separated from Sophia, and it was time for me to do things I enjoyed. So, we went bungee jumping in the neighboring city. Feeling the exhilarating rush of weightlessness, my heart found a rare sense of peace, and I couldn't help but talk with her. Lily was very easygoing and approachable. Perhaps most recent graduates are like that, full of vitality and devoid of the office politics and cunning of seasoned veterans. Lily and I talked for a long time. Her youthful spirit was full of dreams, which reminded me of my own past self. "Ethan," she said, "I believe people shouldn't be trapped by the past. Old wounds don't mean the future can't heal. You always have to look forward." Listening to her words, I suddenly smiled. Yes, I thought, I need to look forward. After saying goodbye to Lily, I returned to my new apartment. To my surprise, as soon as I entered, I found a group of uninvited guests. Leading them was Sophia's head bodyguard. He stood by the door, and upon seeing me, nodded respectfully before speaking. "Mr. Ethan, Miss Sophia requests your return." I was taken aback, completely surprised that Sophia would send people to ask me to come back. "Tell Sophia I'm not coming back," I stated firmly. The bodyguard seemed surprised by my refusal. He furrowed his brow. "Mr. Ethan, you really should reconsider. Miss Sophia says the company cannot function without you, and she is willing to offer you a much better compensation package." Hearing the bodyguard's words, I finally understood why their attitude towards me was so, well, respectful. After all, for years, no one in the Sue family had ever looked at me favorably. In their eyes, I was simply not good enough for Sophia. Even her bodyguards had been impolite to me. Now, this attitude was a complete 180-degree turn. I let out a cold chuckle, stating my stance firmly. "I've made my decision. I will not go back to endure that kind of treatment." The bodyguard seemed unprepared for my unwavering resolve. After all, no matter how fiercely Sophia and I argued in the past, regardless of who was at fault, I was always the first to back down. Seeing my unyielding stance now, they decided to simply abduct me to Sophia. I scoffed, finding their proposal utterly absurd. "You can try," I sneered. "I'll call the police immediately. Even if Sophia has immense power, she won't be able to save you then. Besides, this is a society governed by law." The leader stared at me for a long time, realizing that I was unyielding to both soft words and threats. He finally spoke. "My apologies, Mr. Ethan. We were rash just now. I'll go message Miss Sophia right away." He led his men away to make the call, and I sat on the sofa, waiting. Not long after, to my surprise, Sophia herself arrived at my apartment. She was dressed in a business suit, a hint of weariness on her face. "Ethan, I hope you'll come back," Sophia said, looking at me, a complex emotion in her eyes. "Sophia, have you forgotten? There's nothing left to say between us," I replied coldly. "If you're upset about Daniel, I can explain. He's only here to help me for a short period. He won't threaten your position, and I'm willing to offer you 3 times your current salary to come back. The company truly needs you," Sophia said, rubbing her temples as she sat across from me. I looked at her, a cold sneer forming in my heart. I knew why Sophia was acting this way. The company must be facing some major issue that only I could resolve. "Sophia, do you think I'm someone who can be bought with money? Or perhaps, do you think I'll help you unconditionally?" I retorted. Hearing my retort, a flicker of panic crossed Sophia's eyes, but she quickly regained her composure. She frowned slightly, seemingly displeased with my attitude. "Ethan, don't push your luck. I've already made Significant concessions, 3 times your salary, a benefit unimaginable to anyone else in this company. And don't forget, everything you have in this company today, I gave to you. Her tone carried a hint of threat. I looked at her, and the anger flared up in my heart once more. Sophia, you're wrong. Everything I achieved in this company, I earned through my own hard work, not your charity. You know perfectly well how much effort I poured into this company over the years. And you? How did you treat me? Sophia was choked by my words, momentarily speechless. Just then, her phone suddenly rang. She glanced at the screen, her face darkening further, and stood to answer the call nearby. I vaguely heard an anxious voice on the other end, seemingly indicating a problem with a crucial company project. After Sophia hung up, her gaze towards me became even more complex. Ethan, the company is truly in deep trouble now. Only you can complete the development of that new system. If you don't come back, the company could face massive losses. Sophia's tone was less assertive now, replaced by a hint of pleading. Seeing Sophia's change in attitude, I found it particularly novel. After all, it was truly rare to see her in such a humble posture. Before, no matter how much I did, her attitude towards me was always maliciously dismissive, as if I couldn't survive without her or the company. But now, it seemed my abilities weren't as worthless as she claimed. Moreover, a thought stirred within me. I had indeed put a lot of preliminary work into this new system's development, but her previous treatment made it impossible for me to easily agree. Sophia, that's your problem, not mine. Don't you have Daniel? Let him handle it. Sophia bit her lip, her expression troubled. Daniel, he doesn't understand this project as well as you do. He needs time, but the company can't wait. I scoffed. Didn't you say Daniel was capable enough for such important tasks before? Now he's not. Besides, that was your mistake. In judgment, not my responsibility. Just then, my phone rang. It was the CEO of a large company I had previously collaborated with. He spoke enthusiastically on the phone. Ethan, I heard you left Sue's group. How about it? Are you interested in joining our company? We can offer you better terms, and you'll be independently in charge of a major project, with no one holding you back. I glanced at Sophia, silently thanking the CEO on the phone, then deliberately raised my voice. Thank you for your generous offer. I will definitely consider it. Sophia's face turned ashen when she heard my words. She knew that if I went to a competitor, it would be a devastating blow to Sue's group. Ethan, you can't do this. You can't betray the company. Sophia's voice trembled slightly, yet her eyes were still threatening. I looked at her, feeling a surge of satisfaction. Betrayal? Sophia, you are the one who betrayed our relationship and failed to appreciate my efforts for the company. What right do you have to demand anything from me now? Ethan, don't be so shameless. Do you really think I can't manage without you? You just wait. Sophia was instantly enraged, her words bursting out in fury. Fine, I'll wait, I said, raising an eyebrow at her. Sophia stormed out of my apartment. I knew the conflict between us had reached its peak. However, I didn't have much time to dwell on it, as I was facing new choices myself. I sat on the sofa, carefully considering the invitation from the large company. On one hand, it was indeed an excellent opportunity to escape the shadow of Sophia and Sue's group and restart my career. On the other hand, I hesitated. After all, I had poured so much effort into Sue's group. Leaving it like this inevitably brought a sense of reluctance. Just as I was deep in thought, my phone rang again. It was Lily. She excitedly told me over the phone. Ethan, I found a job. It's at an internet company. Though it's not very big, I think it has great potential for growth. Why don't you send in a resume and try? Lily's words stirred something within me. I remembered what she said when we went bungee jumping. People shouldn't be trapped by the past. You have to look forward. The next day, I arrived at the large company at the agreed-upon time. The company's CEO personally welcomed me and offered me the terms he had initially mentioned. After returning to my apartment, I once again fell into contemplation. Sophia's call broke my train of thought. Her voice on the other end sounded even more tired and helpless than before. Ethan, the company's situation is getting worse and worse. Clients are already leaving due to the delayed development of the new software. If this project remains stalled, we might lose several key partners. I know I treated you poorly before, and I have no right to ask you to come back. But there are many employees in the company who depend on this job for their livelihood. I hope you can come back and help us just this once, for their sake. I remained silent for a long time, the memories of the ostracism I suffered at Sue's group flashing through my mind. I let out a cold laugh. Sophia? Why should I go back? I retorted coldly, my voice laced with finality. Do you remember how you treated me? At the company, you turned a blind eye to my efforts and dedication. Simply because of Daniel's appearance, you ruthlessly cast me aside, as if I had never contributed anything at all to the company. Now that the company is in distress, you expect me to come back and pick up the pieces. Do you think that's even possible? Sophia remained silent on the other end of the line for a long time. Only her slightly ragged breathing was audible. After a while, she slowly spoke. Ethan, I know I was terribly wrong. I shouldn't have treated you that way. I was blinded by my own emotions and prejudices. But the company is truly facing ruin now, and all the employees are at risk of losing their jobs. They all have families and need this work. This is a bitter fruit of your own making, Sophia. I accused her mercilessly. You should take responsibility for your own flawed decisions. You yourself pushed the company into the abyss, not me. I've had enough of the grievances and pain at Sue's group. I have a new direction in life, and I won't be coming back. With that, I hung up without hesitation. There was no doubt in my heart. I knew that the current Ethan needed to live for himself for once. No more humbling myself to please others. No more worrying about the elders' wishes. In the following days, I fully immersed myself in my new company's work. The projects at this large company were incredibly challenging, involving cutting-edge technology and complex business logic. But drawing on my extensive experience and solid technical skills accumulated over years at Sue's group, I quickly adapted to the new environment and integrated into the team. As the project progressed, we achieved significant milestones. The company's CEO was extremely satisfied with our work. He not only provided our team with more resources and support, but also praised and rewarded us in internal company meetings. This was a level of recognition I had never received at the old Sue's group. I marveled once again at having made such a good decision. Meanwhile, my relationship with Lily grew increasingly close. We often spent our free time together, sharing our joys and sorrows. Lily was incredibly supportive of my work. Whenever I worked late, she would thoughtfully prepare a delicious dinner and bring it to my office. When I encountered difficulties or setbacks, she would patiently listen to my worries, offering encouragement and support. Her kindness, optimism, and positive attitude allowed me to experience the beauty and warmth of life, even amidst the exhaustion of work. I learned about Sophia again through a casual conversation with a friend. Ethan, he said, you wouldn't believe how bad things are getting at Sue's group. The company's cash flow has broken, and they can no longer sustain operations. Even employees are leaving in droves, seeking new job opportunities. Partners are pulling out their investments, refusing to collaborate with Sue's group anymore. Good thing you got out when you did, otherwise you'd be in a tough spot now. Hearing my friend's words, my heart was filled with mixed emotions. Although I had many grievances against Sophia, Sue's group was, after all, a place where I had once strived, a place that held my youth and sweat. Seeing its decline now, I couldn't help but feel a pang of melancholy. One day, as I approached my doorstep, I saw a familiar figure. I tentatively spoke, Sophia? When she saw me, a flicker of surprise and shame crossed her eyes. Ethan, you're back. Her voice was low and strained. I looked at her, no longer feeling the intense love or hatred of years past, only a faint sense of pity. Sophia, do you still remember me? I asked her. Sophia nodded. Ethan, I know I was wrong. For years, I've regretted it. I shouldn't have treated you that way. I shouldn't have ignored your feelings. I gave a cold laugh. Sophia, what good are these words now? Do you think a simple I regret it can mend the pain you inflicted on me? Tears streamed down Sophia's face. Ethan, I know I was wrong. Can you help me? My company is bankrupt. Can you help me rise again? Sophia, do you think I would help you? Do you remember how you treated me back then? I asked her coldly. Sophia's body trembled slightly. She lowered her head, unable to meet my gaze. I remember it all. Sophia's voice was laced with despair. I know I have no right to ask for your help, but I'm truly at my wit's end. After the company went bankrupt, I not only lost my career, but also incurred massive debts. I've tried everything, but nothing has worked. I looked at her, and though a faint touch of pity stirred within me, the pain of the past made it impossible for me to easily let go. Sophia, this is your own choice, and it's the consequence you deserve. You once had everything but failed to cherish it. including my feelings for you and my dedication to the company. Sophia looked up, her eyes clouded with tears. Ethan, I know I was wrong, and I've been punished. I have nothing left now. I took a deep breath, calming my emotions. Sophia, you need to learn to face reality. The company has gone bankrupt. You need to accept that fact. I can't help you. No, you can help me. I can't let Sue's group go bankrupt. My father made you promise to take care of me before he died. You can't abandon me like this. Hearing Sophia's words, a bitter laugh escaped me. Sophia, your father asked me to take care of you hoping we would support each other and manage Sue's group well together, not for me to endlessly tolerate your willfulness and mistakes. Look at what you've done. Because of Daniel's appearance, you easily abandoned me and disregarded my efforts and dedication to the company. Now the company is bankrupt, and you're asking for my help again. Do you think that's fair? Sophia was choked by my words, momentarily speechless, merely continuing to cry. I looked at Sophia, complex emotions swirling within me. The intense love and hatred of the past seemed to blur in that moment, but the profound hurts remained indelible. Sophia, your father did indeed wish for me to look after you, but that was on the premise that you were willing to accept help and change, I said calmly. You can't always expect others to solve your problems. You need to stand on your own 2 feet. After a while, she slowly spoke. Ethan, I know I was terribly wrong. Sue's group was my father's life's work. I can't just stand by and watch it disappear. If you don't help me, I truly don't know what I'll do. So, you must help me. Sophia's expression was somewhat frantic, startling even me. Sophia, I'm not a god. I can't do anything about it. Besides, what right do you have to demand that I unconditionally stand by you forever? People can't be this selfish, do you? Understand. I took a step back, genuinely afraid of Sophia's crazed demeanor. Who knew what she might do? After all, I now had my own life, my own future, and I couldn't let her ruin it. Oh, so now you come begging for Ethan's help? Why didn't you think about what you did to him before? He was clearly your husband, yet you chose to trust a stranger instead of him. Now that the stranger has run off, you come crawling back to Ethan for help? What makes you think you're entitled to that? Lily's voice, full of scorn, rang out from the hallway. Perhaps Lily's words hit a raw nerve, as Sophia suddenly lunged at Lily with a knife, screaming, You damned whore. It's all your fault, all yours. Seeing this, I quickly pulled Lily aside. Sophia, missing her target, tumbled down the stairs and fell unconscious. I called the police. With the surveillance footage, Sophia wouldn't be able to escape justice. It was only now that I realized I knew nothing about the woman who was once my wife. Ethan, Lily said, standing before me with a smile, people change. Perhaps you can try to start anew. Perhaps it was the perfect sunshine that day, or perhaps the desert traveler had finally found his direction in life. I simply said, okay.